So let's jump into our conference championship game previews. We'll be honest with you right up front. We're going to cover the P4 ones in depth and maybe mention a few of these other ones of significance. But right off the bat, let's talk about the Big Ten, Johnny. Number one versus number two. Does it get any better than that? Incredible.
Yeah, it is. And how significant for Indiana to be in this position. Obviously had a great run last year, but to be one of the two undefeated teams in the nation with the ability to beat the other undefeated team in the nation and become the number one team, number one seed, Big Ten conference champion. What a time to be an Indiana Hoosier.
Massive. I cannot overstate it, Johnny. So glad you said that. First of all, Howie couldn't be on tonight. Would love to have Howie on. He would be fired up in this segment. So stoked for Howie, Seeley, all the IU fans out there. Johnny, not only is that all of that on the line, which is enough, in year two of Kurt Signetti's tenure there, potentially one of the greatest turnarounds in all of sports, just unforeseen. A year ago, preseason predicted to be the number 17 team in the conference. Unbelievable. The fact that he's got him here, the fact that they could go undefeated, don't think that's ever happened in IU history. Big Ten champs, don't think that's ever happened in Big Ten in IU history. And they could be finish the regular season as the number one ranked team in the country, and in the process take down the defending national champs of Ohio State. I mean, truly a David versus Goliath situation in years past, but in this year, it's best on best, which is amazing. And on top of all that, we have Fernando Mendoza as the odds on favorite to win the Heisman right now, or at least in some markets, co favorite. So we're talking about an opportunity for IU to do the unthinkable. And it's just amazing. There's so much on the line for them. I'm so excited for them. Obviously, both teams here are playoff locks already. So the significance of the pressure of winning this game to be in the playoff, not there at all, but of being the number one unanimous team in the country, winning the Big Ten. Let's talk about the other side, Johnny. Ohio State hasn't played in the Big Ten championship game in a long time, because Michigan has been the thorn in their side that's been preventing them from doing that. This game is going to be played in Indianapolis, Johnny. You know that I spent some time in the great state of Indiana at the lovely Taylor University. Go Trojans, baby. When I was there, Ohio State was in this Big Ten championship game every year, and they showed out. The Buckeyes, the Buckeye State borders the Hoosier State. And Columbus is not too far from Indianapolis, and these fans are used to showing up in Indianapolis at the Loud House in Lucas Oil for these Big Ten championship games. They've been waiting for a while for it. Well, folks, you're facing a team that's even closer, just an hour south of Indianapolis, where this game will be played, is where IU's Bloomington campus is. Huge deal for the Big Ten. Don't get me wrong, last year, really cool matchup. Penn State coming from the East Coast, Oregon coming from the West Coast. That's awesome. But when we talk about the significance of the host city being in Indianapolis, this is a really big deal for it to be an Indiana versus Ohio State matchup, much like that SEC matchup. For those of you who are from the South, those Alabama fans would call Atlanta Tuscaloosa East because they're so used to being there every year. And then Athens is an hour down the road from Atlanta, and that's the matchup we're going to get in the SEC game. I want everyone to know that's pretty much the same situation that we have going on right here. And that's a really big deal when this Big Ten conference now kind of spans the entire country.
Absolutely. I mean, and I don't know if you mentioned this or not. We talked about it earlier. The SEC champion has come from either Alabama or Georgia 10 out of the last 11 years. Um,
Unreal.
and that matchup itself has happened over half the times that those have become the winners. Um, it's historically has gone Alabama's way, especially in Mercedes-Benz. It happened the last two regular season meetings between the two as well over the last 2 years. Interested to see how that one shapes out. I think we both know who we're going to pick for that game, but later I got to ask you, who do you got going to be the winner of the Big Ten championship?
For the Big Ten championship, and let me make this very clear, I've given a lot of love to IU, and deservedly so. I did not mention the fact that Ohio State, defending national champs, clear number one team in the country, In my mind, they've been the number one team the entire year. I don't care where the APs had them, where the CFPs had them. They are the defending national champs, and it is Ohio State, a gap, and everybody else. In my mind, I'm willing to be proven otherwise. I hope Indiana can do it. And I'm putting my cards out there. Obviously, I got a lot of friends on both sides of this one. I would love to see Indiana do it, but I'm picking the Buckeyes. How about you?
You know, my pick might shock you right here because
Okay.
I am going to go with the Indiana Hoosiers. However,
Wow.
I want to follow that up with I still think Ohio State will be in the national championship and more than likely will be the national champion this year.
Wow.
I think there has to be a loss in there somewhere for Ohio State,
Hmm.
and I would like for it to be, based off my predictions, I'd like for it to be this weekend. And then
Okay.
I feel like after that, I think that they will go ahead. I think it'll be a dogfight of a game, very close game. Obviously, I'm a defensive guy. Ohio State is the best defense in the country, and for that reason, it's very, very difficult for me to make this pick. But at the same time, I do think Indiana gets hot. They're hot right now. The offense clicks a few times, a few scores happen, and while Ohio State has those playmakers on the outside, that's not necessarily a team that has shown us that they can play from behind because they haven't been in that situation all year. So
Wow.
I have my prediction is going to be Indiana, but I do think that after that, Ohio State goes on and wins the national championship. So
Johnny, I love it. I love it. You're making me want to flip, man. I would love to see Indiana win that game. That'd be phenomenal.
yeah,
I think Ohio State's got a chance to just run the table this year, tape to tape. As
yeah,
crazy as that sounds. But that makes me scared, man. They might get punched in the mouth. If they get through this one, they might get punched in the mouth in the playoff, which would scare me. They haven't faced a lot of adversity this year. How about
absolutely.
the SEC? Do you have a pick for this one?
I do. I'm going to have to pick with Alabama.
Okay.
That's what the history books show. I know that they're about three, 2.5, 3-point underdogs against Georgia. Haven't looked as good these past few weeks, but something about being a Mercedes-Benz every year, it seems like Alabama is the non-favorite to win that game. It seems like Georgia has a 2 or 3 point edge, and every year Alabama seems to pull it out. I have that belief in this year's team. I think that the defense is going to step up where we need to. If we can stop Georgia's run, I'm not too worried about what they're going to do with the passing game. Gunner is a really good staple Georgia quarterback. You
Yes.
know, you can talk about Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck when he was on fire. It's the same exact thing. I do think that he can run a little bit better than both those guys and has a little bit more toughness in him. But at the same time, if they don't find a way to truly utilize Zachariah Branch in the side-to-side passing game, and truly get the running game going like it was last week against Tech, then I think that they're going to have a hard time beating Alabama.
Ooh, man, what a call, Johnny. I'm gonna actually go opposite on you here again. I'm going against the tide. I'm taking Georgia in this one. I think it's really hard to beat a team twice in one year. Um, and obviously I know that Alabama did it on the road. This is essentially a road game as well. They love to call it Tuscaloosa East. This game is in Georgia's backyard. Uh, Georgia played there last week as well against Georgia Tech in the Mercedes-Benz where this game is being hosted. I think that it's going to be a good one as well. But watching Auburn's game plan and their pass rush get to Ty Simpson and seeing the lack of downfield playmaking ability lately for Alabama and no threat of a deep ball or vertical threat, I hope that that happens. I hope that Alabama finds that and wins it. I think Kirby is going to find something and have a great defensive game plan that's going to give Alabama fits, especially in that pass rush. You mentioned Zachariah Branch. I think the pass rush is the key for Georgia on the defensive side, and Zachariah Branch is the key on the offensive side because that Alabama defense doesn't get talked about a lot. It's one of the best defenses in the country, and they showed up big time against Auburn last week.
Absolutely. So looking ahead on the other conference games, conference tournaments that we wanted to talk about, we have BYU, Texas Tech. All right. So we get a rematch. BYU is right on that fringe right there. And it's pretty much a guarantee that they have to win to get into the playoff. And you know what? Me personally, I don't have sympathy for BYU fans. I really don't.
Hmm.
If they don't win this
Wow.
game, I don't have any sympathy for them because this is their chance. They get to play Texas Tech again,
Yep.
who beat them by 22 points about a month ago. They get a second shot at them. And this is your chance. You were wanting a chance to get in the playoff. You want somebody to let you in the playoff. Here it is. It's right in front of you. You
Yeah.
happen to be 12 and a half point underdogs, which is very reflective of my thoughts on BYU. I don't think that they're a very strong team. I don't think that they would threaten the playoff much and really do any damage in the playoff. But this is your chance, BYU.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, they're going to be in. I think we would all agree that with a loss, Texas Tech will still be in the playoff, probably maybe around the 7 or 8 seed, maybe down to the 9 seed. But it depends what happens in the other conference championship games. I have zero sympathy for BYU fans because they have the opportunity. It is win or go home, and that's what you have to do. That's exactly how the playoffs are. So treat this as a playoff game, and if you win, you're in. If you don't, you go home and you play a bowl game.
I love it. Johnny, unexpectedly here, let me hype this game up a little bit. Number one, this game's being played in Dallas, Texas, in Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium. The word is this game is already sold out. 82,000 plus, Johnny. Hasn't happened in, I believe, the history of the Big 12 championship game being played at Jerry's World. That's a big deal. It's Wednesday. We're recording this. This game is still a few days away. Number two, both of these programs just had their head coaches that they love re up. And the big bad mighty Penn State tried to poach Kalani Sitake from BYU, and he said, I'm staying in Mormon land. I'm staying in Salt Lake City. I'm re upping. The Mormon church was involved in this, Johnny. This is wild stuff. They love that dude. And he turned down big bad Penn State to stay at BYU. Joey McGuire, same thing, just got extended at Texas Tech. They're having an unbelievable year. Texas Tech is the picture of a portal team this year, and it has gone very well for them. You and Howie and I, we talked about a preseason. How is this experiment going to go? Well, it has checked all the boxes so far. So let me hype this game up for a little bit because these are two really good football teams. And I think that everyone would admit there's a gap between the SEC and Big Ten and everybody else. But I think that the Big 12 is a lot closer to the Big 10 and the SEC than they are to the ACC. And not to jump the gun here and go on to the ACC, but I think that conference is unfortunately a joke right now when it comes to P4 and their standing. Do you have a pick for this game? Sorry, I kind of derailed us there.
I mean, I'm going Texas Tech all the way in this one.
All right, this is the first one we'll agree on. I'm going Texas Tech Red Raiders as well.
Yeah. And then, as you introduced, going down to the ACC championship, a very improbable situation here. But we're looking at a potential Duke winning this game and the ACC being left out of the playoff this year. If you would have said that 3 months ago, you would have, first of all, if you would have asked somebody who's going to be in the ACC championship 3 months ago, they would have given you maybe five or six, maybe even seven teams other than these two that we're looking at right now.
Yes.
You would have Clemson on that list. You would have North Carolina on that list. Louisville, Florida State. You could keep going on and on. Pitt,
Yes.
SMU. There's these teams were not expected at all. I'm very happy for both programs. Do I think that Duke is a very high quality opponent for UVA? Not necessarily, but you know what? The spread shows that this could be a very, very good game, a better game than we expect. So I'm excited about this matchup because it does have pretty unique playoff implications. But at the same time, I do think Virginia is a much better team than Duke is. I'll have to be proven otherwise. So my pick is going to be with Virginia, given the fact that they just beat Duke about a month ago by 17 points, and Duke does have a loss this year to UConn. I can't get behind that, and I think it is embarrassing for the conference to have your conference championship team be Duke, who has 5 losses, and one of those being to UConn.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny, you nailed so much of this. I could go so in on this. I think I'll cover some of these elements later in the show when we talk about our rankings reaction. There's so much wrong with this. And I hope it's a wake up call for conference commissioners. I hope it's a wake up call for the playoff. Number one, non conference games need to be weighted when we have these beefed up, expanded conferences. You simply cannot be 7-5 and be playing in your conference championship game. It's so wrong on so many levels. By the way, you mentioned the UConn non-conference matchup. They hosted Illinois, Johnny. Duke did. They got blown out 45-19. Dude, Illinois is like a above average, but definitely like not elite Big Ten team. And so you lost to an above average Big Ten team by 20 plus in your own house. And now you're playing in the ACC championship game. It's a rematch. So we've already seen the tape before. Virginia doubled your score. I think it was 34-17. It's unbelievable. It's unreal on so many levels. It's so messed up. This is a wake up call for conferences. Number one, you better have your teams play each other. Like there has to be the Big Ten's getting away with this too right now, Johnny. Like the best teams need to play each other. The SEC is doing it. Like Texas A&M was the anomaly this year. They still had to play Texas at the end of the year, and that knocked them out of the SEC championship race. Like if Duke had to play a few more teams, we wouldn't be talking about this situation. But my other thoughts on Duke, we'll get into the later playoff segment, but maybe as we segue here, I actually am going to pick Duke to win this game, Johnny. I'm going to pick them to win it. I'm a principled man. I think it's hard to beat the same team twice, and I think Duke has some sneaky talent on that roster. Darian Mensah, if he can hold on to the ball and not turn it over, he's one of the highest passing leaders in the country this year. They paid a bag for him to transfer out of Tulane. And Manny Diaz is a defensive coach. I think hopefully he comes up with a good defensive game plan and they give Tony Elliott and crew a tough time with Virginia. But this game is what's wrong with the sport right now. It's the perfect picture of it. I kind of hope that Duke wins for the chaos factor, Johnny, and just for the fact of like this would show everybody how broken everything is with college football right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It would be interesting to see how this would shape out, given the fact that there'd be two G5 teams in the equation. So I'm with you on that.